You must successfully pass the comprehensive exam if you're going to complete the PhD program. Hi everyone, welcome to Tidy TV, where I bring the classroom to you. I'm Hannah John, and today I'm going to answer some of your questions about the PhD comprehensive exam. Stay tuned. So I've been getting a lot of questions about how my PhD students can prepare for their comprehensive exams. And so in today's video, I wanted to go over what the comprehensive exam is and some ideas or pointers on how you might be able to prepare for yours. So the comprehensive exam is a requirement for graduation. So this means if you don't pass the comprehensive exam, you cannot complete the PhD program. You're allowed to take the comprehensive exam towards the end of your coursework, but sometimes students choose to defer taking the exam until a later semester so that they have more time to prepare. You must pass the comprehensive exam before you begin the dissertation process. So again, yes, please pass. You can think of the comprehensive exam as kind of a culmination of your coursework. So you've taken many semesters of academic coursework, and what you're trying to show us in the comprehensive exam and what we're trying to evaluate you on is that you have a mastery over key concepts, issues, theoretical debates within this field, and you're able to articulate that in the exam and convince us that you're ready for the next part of the PhD program. For our department, you have to take 3 exams, so 3 subjects for the exam, and you must pass all 3 subjects in order to pass the comprehensive exam. The first question I often get is, can you fail the comprehensive exam? Of course. It's like any exam. You have to, again, sufficiently demonstrate that you understand core concepts and that you're able to articulate this within the kind of boundaries of the exam. And if you're unable to do that convincingly, then there's no way that we can pass you. The good news is for our department, you're allowed to retake the exam either that semester or for another semester. So please don't think that your world will crumble if you don't pass the exam the first time around. So the next question I get, of course, is how can I best prepare for the comprehensive exam? Now, what I do is I normally encourage students to start first with the syllabus, of course, the required readings, supplementary readings, anything that is covered in the contents of the syllabus is fair game for the exam. But of course, this is a bare minimum. So this means that, of course, we assume that you will understand and have a mastery over this subject matter as you're taking the exam. You should be confident that you understand the course material and that you understand the key debates and questions within this field, and you're able to articulate a response that demonstrates, again, not just your mastery of the knowledge, but your analytical rigor. So in order to have this mastery of this material, the most important thing is to give yourself enough time to prepare. It might have been more than 1 semester. It could have been more than a year since the last time you've taken this course. So you do need to read up again and make sure that you understand everything as well as what has happened since then within this field. Many of my students actually take several months, if not more, perhaps a semester, to prepare for the exam. But the best thing I think is actually make sure that you're doing well in the course when you take it, and then you're going back regularly to revisit the subject matter and kind of brush up on what's been happening within the field. Since you're given 3 hours to complete each exam, you need to make sure that you are maximizing the time available to you. So my advice here would be get to the point right away. I think that oftentimes students spend a lot of time in giving kind of flowery introductions as to the importance of this question and why it's so relevant to this field, but that's, again, precious minutes, if not hours, taken away from the actual analysis of the question. Another way to think about it is the professors who are administering this exam have chosen these specific questions precisely because they're important in the field. So we don't need a kind of long preface to the question about why this is so important. It should be assumed. If you find yourself normally during the course of other semesters that you run out of time during exams, especially for longer, more extensive essays, I would certainly do maybe mock exams by yourself. Try to look over the syllabus if there are any key questions or themes or even learning objectives that were being asked, and so that you're able to kind of respond to that almost automatically. Just as, a little bit of behind the scenes, when we're looking at the exams, oftentimes your handwriting is pristine in the beginning and you use whiteout, but then as you go towards the end, you're just crossing out. Crossing out big sections and say, ignore this. We completely understand that has no bearing on the actual kind of evaluation. But yes, please try to use your time as wisely as possible. And preparing, I think, in advance will really help you with this. Another tip I give is always to be exhaustive. Quality is always better than quantity, but because this is, again, the culmination of your studies and your coursework, we should see something quite substantive in terms of what you're able to bring in to the analysis. Oftentimes, we might be giving questions that could probably be answered in an academic paper, but we're only given well, you're only given a few hours to answer this. And so we are expecting to see something quite analytical, quite rigorous, and of course, assuming that you already understand the key concepts and definitions and debates within this field. Bring in as much relevant literature, data, and evidence as possible. It's not sufficient to make an argument or a blanket statement and say that you argue something, but you're not able to bring in anything to actually support your argument. Please don't do that in the exam. We're also trying to see if you're able to synthesize the literature. There are many different theoretical perspectives that are being introduced in all of your classes. And so in the exam, you should be able to demonstrate that you understand the strands and that you have an idea about kind of the relative merits of each or all of them. I think the last thing that I would do, of course, is to communicate with the professor who will be administering the exam. He or she might be able to give you some pointers on what might be more relevant, or at the very least, if you present some, options, they might say that some areas are more core and others might be more peripheral, at least with regards to the exam. Professors are rarely going to tell you what the questions are going to be, even in terms of kind of the scope. But my experience has been, and I speak from my personal experience, is I'm not so interested in kind of the nitty-gritty, very kind of minute details. I'm much more interested in kind of the big picture understanding of this field and how we can kind of make sense of the literature and the perspectives that are there. And of course, this is all predicated on extensive analysis that you bring into the exam. If you have any additional questions about the comprehensive exam, please let me know in the comments below. I wish you all the best. I think you'll do great. And until next time here on Study TV, bye.